If you have ever thought that the coin's sitting quietly in your drawer or jar of old change, and nothing more than forgotten pieces of copper, then this story might completely change your perspective. Imagine owning a simple-looking wheat penny from 1940 that could actually be worth much more than just 1 cent. Yes, the Liberty Wheat Penny from 1940 might just turn the tables for you. And if you stick around until the end of this video, you will discover not only its fascinating history but also how you can uncover its hidden value and where to sell it for the best price. The year 1940 was a defining period in American history. The world was on the brink of global war, and the United States was preparing for the changes that would soon shake every corner of society. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins that reflected both tradition and resilience. The Liberty Wheat Penny, also known as the Lincoln Cent, was one of the most common coins of the era, yet today, it carries a special weight in the eyes of collectors and historians. The wheat penny had already been in circulation since 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1940, Americans were deeply familiar with its design. On the obverse side, the strong profile of Lincoln represented leadership and perseverance, values desperately needed as storm clouds of conflict gathered overseas. On the reverse side, the 2 simple wheat stalks framed the denomination, symbolizing agriculture and prosperity, both of which were pillars of the American identity at the time. Minting for the 1940 penny occurred in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint left its own mark, or in the case of Philadelphia, no mint mark at all. These subtle differences in lettering and placement of the mint marks are what makes certain coins rare today. Collectors always keep their eyes on mint marks because they can dramatically increase a coin's desirability and value. The Philadelphia Mint produced the majority of 1940 wheat pennies, making them the most common. However, the Denver and San Francisco mints produced fewer, and certain variations or errors among those batches have become incredibly sought after. For instance, pennies with double die errors, where the design appears slightly doubled due to misalignment during striking, can be worth far more than their face value.
Condition also plays a critical role in determining the value of a 1940 wheat penny. Coins that have been preserved in mint state, showing little to no wear, command higher prices in the market. Collectors use a grading scale to determine quality, ranging from poor to gem uncirculated. A shiny, sharp 1940 penny can catch the attention of serious buyers and auction houses. What's fascinating about the Wheat Penny series is that each year tells a story. The 1940 version in particular represents America's final peaceful year before entering World War II. These pennies were carried in the pockets of soldiers, workers, and families across the nation. Holding one today is like holding a piece of living history on platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, and specialized coin markets. 1940 wheat pennies in average circulated condition often sell for a few dollars, but when rare errors or mint state conditions enter the picture, values can soar into the hundreds or even thousands depending on demand and rarity. Some collectors are willing to pay surprising sums just to complete their sets or to own a perfectly preserved example of this wartime coin. The beauty of coin collecting lies not just in monetary value, but in the stories these small objects carry. The 1940 wheat penny is a witness to the transition of America into a global superpower and a reminder of simpler times when a single cent carried more purchasing power. If you happen to come across a 1940 Liberty wheat penny, it's worth giving it a closer look. Check the mint mark, study its condition, and compare it to professional grading standards. These little details could reveal whether your penny is just another cent or a small treasure waiting to be discovered. And here is where the opportunity really unfolds. If you think you have this coin, it might just change your financial outlook in ways you never expected. The right beer, the right platform, and the right condition could make your penny far more valuable than you imagined. Stick around until the very end, because knowing how to sell it properly is just as important as knowing its worth. Now, as I mentioned at the start, this coin might truly turn the tables for you. But here's what you need to do. If you have a 1940 Liberty wheat penny, or think you might have one in your collection, drop a comment with the word price in the comment box below. I will personally tell you not only how much it can be worth in today's market, but also guide you step by step on how you can sell it for the best possible return.
The Coins World, the channel where history, mystery, and value come together in every coin we discuss. Today, we are going to dive deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins of the 20th century, the 1941 Liberty Wheat Penny. Now, before we get into the details, let me tell you this: if you happen to own this coin, it might just turn the tables for you. Stick around until the very end of the video, because I will share how much this coin can be worth in today's market, and how you can sell it for the best price. And at the end, I'll ask you to comment the word price in the comment section, and I'll personally tell you its real selling value and the exact process of how to sell it safely and profitably. The 1941 Liberty Wheat Penny was minted during a turning point in world history. The United States had not yet entered World War II, but the conflict was already raging across Europe and Asia. The production of this coin took place under those looming circumstances, giving it not just monetary value, but also historical depth. Every penny struck in 1941 carries with it the weight of a nation preparing for one of the greatest struggles in human history, designed by Victor David Brenner. The obverse side of the 1941 Liberty Wheat Penny features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This portrait was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and by 1941 it had already become a national symbol of honesty, unity, and strength. The design remained unchanged, giving this coin a sense of continuity and tradition, linking Americans through generations. On the reverse side, the coin proudly displays two wheat stalks arching along the edges, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. Above sits the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. These wheat stalks symbolize prosperity, labor, and growth, a theme that resonated deeply with Americans who were still recovering from the Great Depression while facing the threat of another global conflict. The 1941 Wheat Penny was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins bore no mint mark, while the Denver mint coins carried a small D, and the San Francisco coins a small S. Collectors often look for these mint marks, as they can greatly influence the rarity and value of a coin. In terms of production, the numbers were staggering. More than 887 million pennies were minted in 1941, making it one of the most common years for wheat pennies. But here's the twist: while the coin might be common in general, the real treasure lies in its variations, mint marks, and above all, its condition. A 1941 penny found in your pocket change today may not be worth much more than a cent, but in high grades, or with special errors, it can fetch impressive sums. Error coins are particularly fascinating.
1945 Liberty Wheat Penny is one of the final wartime issues in the Lincoln Cent series, minted during the closing chapters of World War II. At this time, the United States was fully committed to the war effort, and every aspect of the economy, including coin production, was influenced by the needs of the military. The wheat penny design, created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, had already been in circulation for 36 years by 1945. The obverse front of the coin features Lincoln's right-facing bust, a bold yet humble portrayal of the 16th U.S. president whose leadership during the Civil War saved the Union. The inscriptions in God we trust appear above. Liberty is to the left, and the date 1945 is positioned to the right, depending on the mint location. A mint mark may appear beneath the date. No mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. The reverse back is adorned with 2 curved wheat stalks framing the inscriptions. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion wheat pennies in 1945.1040, 515,000 to be exact, making it one of the most common dates of the series. Denver produced 266,268,000 coins, and San Francisco minted 181,770,000. This abundance means that most circulated 1945 cents are easy to find today, but pristine, uncirculated examples, especially in high mint state readiness road condition, are much scarcer and more valuable for collectors. The 1945 wheat penny offers more than just numismatic value. It as a tangible relic of a turning point in history. When these coins were released, Germany had surrendered in May 1945, ending the war in Europe, and Japan surrendered in August 1945. Following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, soldiers were returning home. Industry was shifting from war production to consumer goods, and Americans were entering a period of economic optimism. Circulation. These pennies were part of everyday life, used to buy candy, newspapers, and soda. They jingled in the pockets of guests, factory workers, and school children alike. The wheat design itself, introduced in the early 20th century, carried a sense of tradition and stability qualities the nation greatly valued during and after the war. Collectors especially looked for full red luster, sharp strike details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and clean wheat lines on the reverse. Certain era varieties from 1945 can be valuable, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunch mint marks or PMIs, particularly from the Denver and San Francisco mints. The average circulated 1945 wheat penny is worth only a few cents over face value, but in high mint state grades, values can reach $50, $150 or more. Exceptional examples with brilliant color, flawless surfaces, and rare errors can bring several hundred. Small brown coin from 1953, the Liberty wheat penny, might be one of those coins that could turn the tables for you financially if you own one. It might be worth far more than you think. Stick around, because in this video I am going to take you deep into its history, its hidden details, and by the end you will find out exactly why collectors are chasing it, and how you can discover its true value. The 1953 Liberty wheat penny is part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat series, which began in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first American coin to feature a real person, and not just an allegorical figure, making it a turning point in U.S. numismatic history. By 1953, the wheat penny had already become an iconic staple of American coinage, treasured for both its design and its symbolism. The obverse of the 1953 coin features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait, while simple, carries a weight of history. Lincoln's image was chosen not only because of his role in preserving the Union, but also because he symbolized honesty, strength, and leadership during one of America's most turbulent times. Collectors today often remark that holding one of these coins feels like holding a direct piece of U.S. history. On the reverse side, the wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, giving this coin its nickname, the wheat penny. These two sheaves of wheat are not just decorative. They represent American agriculture, hard work, and the prosperity of a nation that depended on its farmers. Combined with Lincoln's portrait, the design struck a chord with the American people and has remained one of the most admired designs in U.S. coinage. Now, the year 1953 itself holds special interest. These pennies were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a small d, and San Francisco with an S. Each mint produced millions, but their survival in pristine condition is another story. Many 1953 pennies entered circulation immediately, were handled for decades, and show heavy wear. That makes uncirculated pieces, or those with mint errors, significantly more valuable to collectors. In terms of composition, the 1953 Liberty wheat penny followed the standard post-war formula of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gave it a warm reddish-brown color when freshly struck. Over time, exposure to the environment darkened many of these coins, but those preserved in original rolls or coin albums often retain brilliant red luster that commands higher prices at auction.